some more intensity. Try and put some pressure back on the bowlers.
Nice, Dino. Well bowled, mate.
Rotate the strike.
Yeah, and Heather Knight will sense that as well. Heather Knight will just feel like you would have as a bowler when you're out there. You just sense the moment now. It's just on a little bit of a knife edge, and Heather Knight there is just being pretty meticulous with her field placing because she knows that they are thinking exactly the same as what we're talking about here. Arizan Cap and Capsey at some point will have to break free a little bit. There you go. That's
an attempt.
Yeah.
And it's found the gap. Brilliant batting. Brilliant batting. When you're under pressure, you don't always have to go for the maximum. You don't always have to take on the fielder. You can pick a gap and execute like this.
Controlled aggression. You knew that the pressure was just building a little bit, and that's a go-to shot, almost a release shot for a lot of right-handers with the spin.
Oh, nice, Dino. Well bowled, mate.
4 and a single to take us to the halfway stage. 54 for 2.
Sarah Glenn has bowled 10 balls for 7, has a wicket, is about to come back on, and Charlie Dean has 1 for 11 from her 10. So very much the strength of the London Spirit team, this 3-pronged spin attack.
Go, Trev. Go, Trev.
So it was an interesting call from Heather Knight to want to field first. All the numbers suggest she's right, because Spirit have tended to chase quite well. Invincibles haven't set very well, but when you've got the spinners, sometimes captains like to get runs on the board and then bowl spin on a dry pitch. Good afternoon, Ebony.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ath. I think we're in for a thriller.
Lovely, Glenda. Well bowled, mate.
Yeah, these two have had some duels, haven't they? And that tie kind of really summed it up. And I think when you've got dipti Sharma coming in, keeping things tight, you've got Glenn second in the bowling rankings.
Spin.
It's a good firm sweep shot from Alice Capsey, who's been in good touch throughout this tournament, but picking out Danny Gibson out there in the deep. Did you do that tie earlier in the tournament?
No, I didn't cover it, but I watched it, and I thought the Spirit were nowhere, absolutely nowhere. But Heather Knight and her team battled hard. Were you there? No, you weren't there.
No, I didn't do that one, but it was a thrilling game. Of course, because it's the Derby teams, the London teams, they've played each other twice in the comp so far. The Invincibles running out comfortable winners on the other occasion, and they are the 2-time champions. Whereas the Spirit, first time in the eliminators. I put that to Heather Knight. She said, yeah, about time. She's quite succinct, isn't she, in her responses?
Catch it!
Short, pulled away. Gibson, no, down. Worth another look at this, because what she was doing was running in as though she didn't expect it to carry at first, and then in the end she almost overran it.
Catch it!
Well, Gibson got nowhere near judging this well here. Normally she picks it up and tracks it well, but she was spinning as the ball came, and that was almost asking too much to have to track the line, hold on to the ball and turn. She almost needed to get there a bit quicker.
Well, and also, if she'd have just come round in a straight line, she's hugging the boundary line there as we speak, and all she had to do was, all she had to do, it's easier said than done, was run round on the line of the boundary. But she actually came in. You can see she's a good 10 or 15 yards in, and then had to slightly backtrack as it went over her head.
Yes, nice, Eva. Well bowled, mate.
Eva Gray now so moved away from the spin momentarily. I should imagine the spinners will bowl their full complement today. It feels like that kind of a day and that kind of a pitch, but for now, Eva Gray.
And arguably Eva Gray's in that sort of spinners category. Yes, she doesn't turn the ball, but the sort of pace, stump to stump, keep her up. I have to say, I feel that this is actually a step forward for Capsey, the way she's playing today. It's not often in the past as a youngster you would have seen her comfortable being 21 off 24. She almost used to sometimes go too hard. But now she realises that she's in a battle here. She's trying to pick the right ball, trying to pick the right moment.
Well, 192 runs in the competition before today's game, so she's been in excellent touch throughout. Must be feeling pretty confident.
Magical.
Yeah, it's nice to see a player evolve. You know, she started the competition age 16. You can just see she likes the responsibility. She now understands the power game and just trying to keep things ticking.
Nice, Eva.
In the longer format of the game, you say players come of age, batters around 28, but I suppose in short form, that's got to be quicker. What do you think? 21, 22?
You'd have thought quicker because almost there's less to learn about the game. It's a more instinctive, power-based game, less perhaps technique-based. But you're right, and traditionally you'd say about 28, maybe 27 to 32, 33, a golden age for batters. Slightly younger for faster bowlers, slightly older for spinners. Most gorgeous day for cricket. Last year's women's eliminator was washed out, of course. Well, we've got a contrasting day, thankfully, today. And the Invincibles, well, they're 63 from 60. Capsey and Marizanne Kapp just trying to get over the early loss of Schofield and not so long ago Winfield Hill. Back to spin now. Charlie Dean. I felt you were going to say something about Heather Knight.
Yeah, well, she gave you donuts. She's good. She's good in these interviews. I said to her earlier this season, "Oh, well done, mate. You got your first win. How do you feel about last year?" And she said, "Well, it rained last year because they had 2 rained off." And I was like, "Yeah, but you also played badly." She wasn't having it.
Down, Dino.
Yeah, she's that sort of steely captain that she doesn't want to let anything enter her mind.
Rather like Beth Mooney, who gave Dominic Cork quite a tough time in an interview when he...
She gave him donuts. It's got to be an important skill, that, though, isn't it? For the captain, with all this sort of, especially for the female players who didn't have so much attention before, to be able to just block out the noise.
Yeah, because we were talking about a matchup earlier ahead of the game between Marizanne Kapp and Meg Lanning, which we'll see later on. And one of the keys to that when you're on the wrong side of that matchup is to try and block it all out. And it's a new, fresh day, and what's gone before doesn't necessarily have to have any impact upon what happens now. That's excellent work from Cordelia Griffiths out in the deep, who is always put in an absolutely key position by Heather Knight. She does... I'd quite like to have a mileometer on her during a game because she does a lot of miles. She's put in the key position. She often goes from boundary one side to boundary the other. Really good mover and athlete in the outfield.
Down.
Terrific. That is lovely use of the feet from Alice Capsey, and getting in a position where she can hit that into out and through extra cover.
Well, this is the shot of the day for me here, because she's had to manufacture and make something happen, but she's kept control, just shuffled her feet to the right position, and then late plays the shot, opens up the wrist, and then the power comes in late into the shot. That's a high quality shot from a high quality player.
Yeah, 2 aspects to that. One is to get down the pitch, to get to the pitch of the ball, but then put your body in a position where you can steer it through cover.
On it, Dipti, on it.
Really good.
Keep up.
As is that from Dipti Sharma, fielding well off her own bowling.
Feel with Capsey pretty much going at a runner ball. If she lasts into that sort of final 25, she'll be set. She knows the conditions. She could be dangerous.
That's where the boundary options are, through the offside. There's a ring of 4 there. Nobody behind that ring if Capsey can find a way through. All the cover out deep is on the leg side.
Take on, bowler, mate, bowler.
Griffith again. Can't prevent the 2 this time.
Oh, good work all round. You talked about Cordelia Griffiths doing the work on the outfield. Wasn't able to cut it off. I feel this is a sort of game where 2s, if you actually track at the end, which is the team that's run the most 2s, will end up being the team that wins.
Yeah, I think they're decent sized boundaries, but they're probably shorter, straighter. So the sixes, I imagine, we'll see down the ground today if we see many. And the twos and the threes that you're talking about will be into the pockets, square, and into the corners, because that's where the bigger boundaries are. Danny Gibson out in the deep, 74 from 70. More in evident in the women's game because there's not as many sixes hit as in the men's, so there's still that skill to get it into the pockets and run twos and threes. Now Danny Gibson bowled 5 balls earlier, actually didn't bowl as accurately as I've seen her in the past, and she gets an opportunity for another 5 now.
Yeah, lost their line 3 wides in that first 5. Just got to get that rhythm right.
Ooh, now it's a lovely shot actually. She held a lovely shape there to the shot, Marizanne Kapp. Just for a moment I thought it might have carried to mid-on or long on. Look at that shape on the shot, fantastic.
Yeah, I like the feet. There was just a little shuffle. She stands outside the crease, just got down to it just to change the length, and then a punch. She's thinking play controlled, play placement.
Eva Gray out there at long on. Said that the shorter boundaries are straight here, and the sixes that we see are likely to come down the ground, and Marizanne. Kapp giving a perfect illustration there.